Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Whiskey, Grits, and Honey. I'm here with my awesome friend and fellow alumna of Averett, Jaina. Jaina is a writer, a journalist, content creator, media personality, all these other dope things. So today we're going to talk about her work in media and journalism and being a woman of color and how she uses her platform to promote social justice. So Jaina, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, we've been trying to work this out for a while, so I'm glad it finally worked out.
Yeah. Hey, and it was gonna happen when it was supposed to, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So I almost forgot the date. Oh me. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Just where you're from, what you do, all that stuff. How you met me at Averett?
Okay. I'm originally from DC, the DMV area. And then when I was like 7, I moved to Southern Virginia, a small town called Yale. So I've been in Southern Virginia for like a long time. Ended up at Averett for college. That was just totally random. Like I wasn't expecting that at all. I was like, where is this place?
Exactly.
Went there, met you, and all of our classes, journalism, communications. And I think that's a good thing to have a small school for. Graduated, I did move back to Maryland after I graduated. And then I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. Then I ended up back here and now I'm trying to move again. So I have my bachelor's degree in communications.
Okay. Cool. What inspires you to get into media and journalism?
When I was younger, I used to sleep beside my radio and listen to the radio, like especially in the evening time, well into the nighttime. And the radio makes you think that they are your friends. So I was like, okay, I want to do radio. And then when I was in like junior high school, I started getting into sports, which then I was like, okay, I want to work for Sports Center. So that's why I took up communications in college. Like literally in high school, I could give you stats on like all the teams. I could list all the NFL teams, what conferences they were in, give you the rundown on Monday. So that's how I kind of got into it. I just love the funness of it all. I don't know. And I like interviewing people. Like it's something about hearing people's stories. So definitely as I grow in my career with my podcast, I definitely want to interview stories and like maybe do documentaries as well.
For sure. Did you take sports journalism at Averett?
No.
Oh, you would have been perfect at it. Yeah.
I didn't even, I feel like I should have taken journalism, like study journalism instead of communications. That's but right. Whatever. I forgot it intersects at some point.
It really does. It does. So what does content creation mean to you? I know that's like a buzzword now that a lot of people who are using like media, social media, they're calling themselves content creators. So what does that mean to you?
To me, it's like when I do my podcast, I always say it's like therapy for me. So to me, it's just putting your version of art out there, and excuse the train. To me, it's just putting your art out there, and whoever receives it, they receive it. And it's something beautiful about it because we're not all alike. We all like different things. So why not put it out there and see what, can inspire somebody else,
I totally agree. And like as millennials, that people are always like, oh, this generation and Gen Z, y'all are always on your phone, you're always on social media. But I love social media and I love like using technology and digital platforms to communicate with people. I don't know. So what do you think about
it's a freedom. It's a freedom. Like, and sometimes it has its good, it's bad, but I actually had to start putting limits on my social media because I'll be on there all day. But it's so freeing, and it takes you away from all the madness that's going on in the world or in your personal life. And I think with radio, that kind of took me out of like situations I was going through personally. So I find that connectivity there.
Yeah. Yeah. So as someone with media, was like radio like always your primary like platform, or did you consider like print media as well?
I used to read the newspaper, but definitely radio, TV. I thought I was going to be the next Oprah. um,
It could happen,
I,
you know.
I thought I was going to be like Carrie Champion and like Jamel Hill and all of them.
Oh yeah.
You never know what could happen because things change instantly nowadays. But um, yeah, I think content creation is people's form of art and kind of like their escape to put art and put good out into the world. And hopefully everyone's version is perceived well.
I agree with that 100%. So as a woman of color, who are some of your biggest influences in the media?
It's weird because when I like grew up, I was listening to 106.5. So anybody on that channel as I was growing up, definitely some influences. Growing up in like the DMV, I vaguely remember it, but Donnie Simpson, I know after I graduated from Averett, Angie Martinez was a definite one. And then reading her book, I'm not sure if you ever read it, but reading her book was very like, it was inspiring. And The Breakfast Club now, like,
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
And their take on like culture and, wanting to see, I know it's problematic sometimes, but wanting to see or hear different sides of everyone's stories and, seeing them do what they do definitely inspires me. And I want to be in that position one day to interview the best of the best, the up and coming, and just hear people's stories.
Yeah, yeah, which I can definitely see you going there because the content that you create is so dope. Like I look forward to hearing like your episodes like, every time you release something. So what inspired you? What inspired you to start Audacity? Like the name, kind of the platform, like the topics and stuff. Like what was the inspiration behind that?
I actually started my podcast back in 2017.
Mhm.
It was literally on my grandmother's birthday. May she rest in peace. Back in 2017. And I think I did like 2 episodes. One episode and the other one didn't get uploaded because I was too afraid of other people's opinions. And so then I rebranded in 2020 and I restarted it. And I just kept hearing this dream, like, I don't even really dream, but I just kept hearing like, who does she think she is? The audacity of her. So that's how I came up with the name of it. And that's how I rebranded it. So that's basically how the Audacity podcast was dreamt, like came about. In regards to like the content I make for it is definitely lessons I learned in my life as I'm growing and or lessons I've learned along the way. So that's how I came about it. I want to do more with it. I felt like I had some fluff pieces in there, but it's all a growing stage. So
Yeah, yeah. Could you share like some of the ideas, like future plans you had, stuff you have for it?
like episodes or just in general?
Well, both, yeah.
I do want to talk about my journey with therapy. I would love to have more people interviewed on once I get that situation figured out. Maybe maybe do like a YouTube channel and hopefully one day once it's big enough, I really want to do like a live episode.
That would be dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Q&A, like have people like hop on, maybe have someone like co-host and stuff. Like, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
One of the other things I love so much about just you and your platform, not just your podcast, but just like any of your social media, is your voice that you use for social justice. So, can you talk a little bit about how you use your platform for social justice?
I don't know, like I've always had a problem, even when I was younger, with people being treated wrongly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that stemmed for us watching like our friend Martin and like documentaries like that, but I've just never liked it. So why not voice your opinion if you see someone being treated wrongfully or just disrespectfully, like we're all human at the end of the day. Like we're just trying to live and survive. So why not speak out about it? Why not share it and, get a conversation going? Now, sometimes you have to be careful and save your sanity because some people will take you down a rabbit hole. But, if you have the platform and if you want to see justice for people for just being humans, then why not?
Mm-hmm. And like I completely agree with that because so many like influencers nowadays or like big media people, like they use this platform and then they'll slap like BLM in like their bio for 3 weeks, and then when the hype's gone down, they've gone back to normal. Like they don't usually use their platform to raise awareness. It's all for just like clout and likes and follows and stuff like that. Could you elaborate a little bit on that too?
Yeah, it's definitely Black History Month, Pride Month I feel like has become a commodity. And on my episode with Alma, we talked about the Day of the Dead, and she was saying how that the Day of the Dead tradition, when she lives in California, but she's seeing it being commercialized out there. And I'm like, but that's a day to honor, like your ancestors and the children that have passed on. So I don't know if there's anything that we can do besides like call it out and not support it, because these things matter to us, especially as people of color, and we're just out here and as people of color, something is always getting taken from us. It's just inevitable. But I think the best thing that we can do now is use social media and call out companies and not support them. Like the Black community, especially with Black women, we are like the highest spenders. So money talks. So if money walks, hey, that's your fault. You have to fix it. But at some point, somebody at the head of these companies has to be like, that's not going to fly. We have to fix this. So
yeah, completely agree. I remember like last year in like 2020, like we began to see things like Juneteenth being like commercialized. I was like, come on now, like how are you going to make money off of our Freedom Day?
They will find a way. I mean, America was basically built on money.
Capitalism.
Capitalism for sure. I'm glad we got a holiday, but I'm not sure if everybody should be off. I'm definitely like, no, I think Black people should just be off.
Exactly. And we shouldn't have to pay taxes. And college should be free for
We want our reparations, okay?
Yeah.
That's basically it.
I would take it in any forms that I can. Cool.
Yeah.
So any advice for folks who are looking to start a podcast or go into like journalism?
If you want to do a podcast, Anchor, that's a free platform. I'm not sure if there's any other. SoundCloud, that's where originally I started my podcast on, the Unapologetically Candid podcast. Talk to other people, but not only that, but also make your podcast about you. Don't try to make it about anybody else. Make it personal to you. And that's also what I'm learning right now, because I like tons of things. Like I just started falling in love with sports again. Haven't watched sports in so long. Books, my life right now. And I like talking to people about even therapy. Just find things that, are your interest to you and what you want to talk about. It could be music. It could be books. It could be government. It could be finances. It could just be you sitting around with a friend having a random conversation. Make it true to who you are.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you had mentioned like therapy and things like that. I know we had talked a little bit about like mental health and particularly like mental health in the Black community. Why do you think it's important to use platforms like podcasts and things like that to elevate voices for mental health in the Black community?
Because it's been a stigma in our community for so long. Like back in the day, people probably just walk around undiagnosed and people just say something wrong with him. He a little bit touched, but somebody basically had a problem and it went undiagnosed and they suffered for so long. And I think that we just hold on a lot, a lot of traumas that maybe our parents passed down to us and we may not have realized it. We have, like when I first started my first session, I didn't realize I had an attachment style. I didn't even know what the heck it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you can benefit a lot from it, and not even from if you just want to do it on a personal level. I know when I was researching it, somebody on YouTube was talking about how they did it for their business. So they got therapy and like life coaching for their business. But I think it's a good way to finally just get it all out, because sometimes our family and friends, they just listen and give a response. They don't listen and comprehend what you're saying. So having that self-care time, as I call it with my therapist, that self-care time, that hour, is so beneficial, and it'll just release you. And I definitely think during my process, it has made me self-aware on a lot of things.
Yeah. And kind of like you touched on earlier, like as people of color, as Black people, we carry generational trauma, like things that we don't even realize that we're carrying. And then it just comes out of nowhere. Like we can get angry for no reason, or we can find ourselves crying for no reason. It's like, what is going on? But it's just like generations and generations of just like the stuff that we're carrying. And it's so crucial, particularly for Black males as well. Like as a teacher, like I'm constantly telling my students, like, I can tell something's wrong, let it out, like talk to me, what's wrong. So I completely agree with that.
And not only that, I feel like we realize the traumas that our parents passed down on us, but we also realize and have a little bit more grace to realize that their parents passed on something to them, but it was also another generational thing. And I'm glad that, you're a Black male teacher, because I remember it wasn't until the 6th grade until I had a Black teacher, a history teacher, male teacher in the 6th grade. My first Black male teacher, he was a music teacher, but I think that's pretty common.
Yeah. We see them in roles like coaches and occasionally like a math teacher or something like that, but like to see them in like
gym coach, a PE coach,
yeah,
PE teacher,
for sure. So how can we follow you, stay in touch with your episodes, just keep up with you on social media? Where can we find you at?
I'm on social media. My Instagram is audacity_pod. You can find the page on Facebook at, I think it's the same thing, at the Audacity Podcast or Pod. Oh, don't be, I can't remember. You can find my podcast everywhere. It's on the Anchor app, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of that. But if you look on my Instagram, there's a link tree to everything, even my email.
Okay, awesome. Well, are you taking like submissions or people who are interested in being on the show?
Yeah, I'm always interested, so I just got to work it out, but I'm always interested in learning people's story and, where they were and where they are now. I think that type of evolution is a great thing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jaina. We would definitely put the word out. We would love to get some more people on the podcast and definitely get some more subscribers and listeners as well.
Yes, and we're going to have you on.
Yes, I cannot wait for that collaboration.
For sure.
Yeah. And thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next episode.